You've seen it happen. Men who seem to have it all, talent, smarts, opportunity, and then out of nowhere they crash and burn. From the outside, it might look like a moment of madness or simple self-sabotage, but the pattern is much older than that. What if I told you the single greatest threat to a man's success, his family and his legacy, isn't some external enemy, but an internal script? A script written thousands of years ago. The original rebel's catastrophic fall from grace wasn't just some ancient fable. It was a prophetic warning for every man alive today. The blueprint for self-destruction was laid out before humanity even had a pulse, and now modern culture is selling it back to you as a guide to success. We're about to decode the 5 I will statements from the prophet Isaiah to show you how the exact same ego trap that caused the first and most epic fall from power is actively wrecking modern men's lives. And that 5th one, that's the trap almost everyone stumbles into. Let's be real. The pressure on men today is crushing, and the culture is offering a poisoned solution. It tells you that being a man means being dominant, being seen, being the king of your own little hill. It preaches a gospel of self-worship. Your social media feed is a non-stop highlight reel, a theater of I wills. I will get the promotion. I will build the perfect body. I will get the girl. I will be envied. It's a constant, unspoken race to build a slightly higher throne than the next guy. This shows up as hustle culture, where your worth is measured by your grind and taking a day off is a cardinal sin. It's in the gym, where strength is chased not for health, but for the validation of a mirror selfie. It's on dating apps, where people become products and the mantra is, I deserve the best, breeding an entitlement that suffocates any chance of a real connection. It's in the corporate world, where men claw their way up the ladder, not to build something meaningful, but just to sit on a higher rung and look down on everyone else. This relentless chase for more status, more validation, more control, leaves men exhausted, anxious, and deeply empty. You can have all the shiny toys of success and still feel like a total fraud, because the ego has an appetite that can't be filled. It's a black hole. And this isn't some new psychological quirk. This is a spiritual sickness, and to get to the root of it, we have to go back to the very first case study. We have to go back to Lucifer's fall. Before he was the enemy, he was God's masterpiece. The prophet Ezekiel describes him as a guardian cherub, the model of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. He was in Eden, on the holy mountain of God, literally covered in jewels. He was created blameless, the highest of all angelic beings, an anointed protector of God's own holiness. He was the morning star, a bringer of light. He had it all, except for the one thing he couldn't have: God's throne. And right there, in the perfection of heaven, a thought took root in his heart: the seed of rebellion. The prophet Isaiah recorded this internal monologue, the 5 declarations that sealed his fate. Isaiah chapter 14 lays it out plain and simple. For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit on the mount of the congregation. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. This was it. This was the first sin. Not in the Garden of Eden with a piece of fruit, but in the heart of the most glorious being ever created. It wasn't lust, it wasn't greed, it was pure, raw pride, an inflation of self so extreme that he started to believe he was the source of his own glory. This is the very core of that universal law from Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Lucifer was the first to prove it true. He pitted his own will, his 5 I wills, against God's will, and in doing so, he chose not power, but ruin. He was cast down, and that exact same pattern of self-destruction now echoes in the hearts of men. These 5 I will statements aren't just ancient history. They are 5 distinct warnings for you and me. They're the 5 pillars of the ego trap. And if you can learn to spot them in your own life, you can choose a different path. First, I will ascend into heaven. This was a declaration of insane ambition. Lucifer wasn't happy with his job, even as the highest angel. He wanted to climb, to take over the very home of God. This wasn't about serving, it was about ruling. The modern version is the man who sacrifices everything for his career. His job title becomes his entire identity. He climbs the corporate ladder, but his family life is in ruins at the bottom. He wants the corner office, not for the good he could do there, but just for the sake of having it. It's the drive to get to a place where you're untouchable, beyond criticism, the absolute master of your own fate. The antidote? Purposeful service. It's switching the question from how high can I climb to who can I lift up? Jesus, the true king, gave us the ultimate counterexample. He didn't climb up to rule, he came down to serve. He washed feet. So here's what you can do. Find one area of your life this week, at home, at work, in your neighborhood, and serve someone with zero expectation of getting a shout-out. Put their needs ahead of your ambition. Second, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. The stars of God are understood to mean the other angels. This statement screams comparison and competition. It wasn't enough for Lucifer to be magnificent. He had to be more magnificent than everyone else. He had to be number one. This is the toxic core of social media. It's the obsession with followers, likes, and a blue check mark. It's that need to have a better car, a bigger house, a hotter partner than the next guy. It's that secret little satisfaction you feel when a rival stumbles. It's the poisonous impulse to measure your own worth by looking down on someone else, turning life into a brutal zero-sum game. The antidote is gratitude and contentment. Real confidence isn't about being better than other people. It's about being secure in who God made you to be. The Apostle Paul said it best, I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. So here's your action step. Do an unfollow audit. Scroll through your social media and unfollow every single account that consistently makes you feel envious, inadequate, or competitive. Replace that noise with something that actually builds you up. If any of this is starting to sound familiar, even just a little, stay with me, because seeing the trap is the first step, and we're about to get into the nitty-gritty of how to tear it down. And if this is hitting home, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We break down ancient blueprints for modern life every week, and you don't want to miss what's next. Third, I will also sit on the mount of the congregation. This is the craving for the spotlight and public praise. The mount of the congregation was the assembly place, the center stage. Lucifer didn't just want power, he wanted to be seen, to be adored, to be the one everyone looked up to. For the modern man, this is the desperate hunger for validation. It's the guy who can't stop talking about his own wins. It's the obsession with building a personal brand. It's the deep-seated fear of being overlooked or forgotten. It's chasing a legacy for your own name instead of building something that will outlast you. This is the guy who does good things, but only if there's a camera rolling. The antidote is humble anonymity. It's finding your worth in your character, not your reputation. Jesus warned us about this directly, saying, "Beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them." So here's your mission. Do something good in secret. Pay for the coffee for the person in line behind you. Give to a charity anonymously. Help someone out and tell no one about it. Learn to find joy in the act itself, not in the applause. Fourth, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. In Scripture, clouds often represent the glory of God. This statement was Lucifer's attempt to manufacture his own glory, to become a self-made source of light and power. He forgot that his own brilliance was just a reflection of his Creator and started to believe he built it himself. This is the self-sufficiency trap. It's the man who refuses to ask for help because he thinks it's a sign of weakness. It's that "I'll do it myself" attitude that cuts him off from his friends, his family, and God. He relies on his own strength, his own brain, his own bank account. This always leads to burnout and breakdown because no man is strong enough to be his own God. It also makes him blind to his own weaknesses, unteachable, and unable to take correction. The antidote is vulnerable dependence. The strongest thing a man can do is admit he doesn't have it all figured out. It's recognizing that everything you have is a gift. The action step? Ask for help. This week, find one area where you're struggling and be brave enough to ask a trusted friend, a mentor, or God for help. Admitting you're weak is the first step toward becoming truly strong. Fifth, I will be like the Most High. This is it, the final, ultimate ego trip. This is what all the others were building toward. The desire to be your own God, to make your own rules, to be the final judge of what's right and wrong for your own life. This was Lucifer's ultimate rebellion, not just to get close to God, but to replace God. This is the most sneaky and dangerous trap for men today. It's that little voice whispering, "I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul." It's rejecting any moral authority outside of yourself. It's living by my truth instead of the truth. It shows up as a refusal to submit to anything or anyone, which leads to a life run by impulse and desire and ends in chaos. It's the very same sin that got Adam and Eve kicked out of the garden, wanting to define good and evil for themselves. The antidote is willing submission. The great paradox of the spiritual life is that real freedom isn't found in being your own boss, but in joyful submission to a good and loving God. The ultimate counterstatement is the prayer Jesus himself prayed in the garden, "Not my will, but yours be done." That is the single most powerful sentence a man can ever speak. It is the perfect antidote to Lucifer's 5 I wills. The story of Lucifer's pride isn't just a spooky myth. It's a mirror that shows you the two roads available to every single man. The path of I will is wide, and it looks like strength, power, and success. But as the proverb warns, it leads to destruction. It's a path that ends in isolation, emptiness, and a fall. The other path is narrower. It's the path of humility, service, gratitude, vulnerability, and submission. It's the path of thy will be done. In a world that's screaming at you to build your own throne, this path can look like weakness, but it's the only source of true, unshakable strength. It's the path that leads to connection, purpose, and the only kind of glory that actually lasts. The choice between those two paths is yours to make every day in the quiet of your own heart. If this message resonated with you today, show it by hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribed for more weekly content that breaks down ancient wisdom for modern life. And in the comments below, I want you to make a declaration. Just write, "Ego is the enemy." Share this video with another man who you think needs to hear this. Choose humility, choose strength, choose life.